My name is Kyla. I'm the content specialist for InUni Global, and I'm very excited to introduce you to our distinguished speakers for today. Before that, in today's session, we'll guide you through everything that you need to know about MCNY, everything you need to begin your journey at MCNY. Along with that, you'll gain a clear understanding of admissions process, explore available scholarship opportunities, and learn the essential steps to successfully submit your applications. Whether you're just starting to consider your options or if you're ready to apply, this webinar is designed to give you the clarity and confidence to take you to the next step towards studying in New York City. And of course, to walk you through our session today, let me introduce of our amazing speakers for today. So the very first one we have here is we have Andrew Rearley, the Associate Director of Admissions at MCNY. So Andrew works closely with prospective international students, helping them navigate the admissions process and discover how MCNY can be the right fit for their goals. So it's awesome also to have you here with us. Thank you so much for your giving us your time, Andrew. How are you today?
Sorry, doing great.
Thank you so much. It's nice to have you back here. And lastly, we have Karan Merchandani. He is the Associate Manager for InUni. With his experience and leadership in the field, Karan plays a key role in driving initiatives and supporting the team's goals. So his insights and contributions continue to add value to the organization, making him an important part of InUni's success. Welcome, Karan. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
All well, excited for the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm very excited too, as well. We all are. Thank you so much for giving us your time. And before we begin our webinar for today, I would like to remind everyone that, this session is being recorded and you will be given the recording shortly after the session has is ended. A link will be shared to you right after this session, and we will also have a live Q&A session at the end of this webinar. Stay here and I hope you can listen until the end. So you can simply submit your questions using the Q&A box below down your screen. So we'll be glad to address as many as possible today live. All right. So to start, of course, we have Andrew to give us, the reasons why we should be choosing MCNY. Take it away, Andrew.
Hi, thank you for that, Kyla. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone, everywhere, where you are in the world. Metropolitan College has been around since 1964. We've been in New York City all this time. We've been accredited by many accrediting bodies throughout its history. One of the accrediting bodies we have is ACBSP. We are affirming they are affirming our commitment to quality teaching and learning in business education. There's a number of other accreditations that we have outside of the business degrees. We also have education and human services. One of the main focuses about our college is that we are different and unique in the way that we do experiential learning. We combine theory with practice. We want to be able to help take what you're learning in the classroom and apply it to the real world, right? So you're going to be able to learn through different internships and field work, which is going to help you solve, a lot of the life problems, that may exist. It's going to give you these skills that you need to be able to survive in the workforce. Most of our students are international. It's surprising. You would think that, we're here in New York, we would have a lot of, U.S. students, but many of our students are international. They come from multiple countries all around the world, over 40 to 50 countries. We have India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Vietnam, China. I mean, I can just go on, but we have a very diverse student body. And as I go through later on in the slides, you'll probably hear me say that in some of the classes, you'll have probably more international students than U.S. students. It's great to study here in New York, right? You're going to be able to learn from the many diverse cultures and the experienced teachers that we have. The faculty is amazing. And of course, you've heard the story before, right? New York City is a city that never sleeps. So we are grateful for being here. Next slide. So as I mentioned earlier, right, we are the top destination for international students. New York State, across the entire New York State, they brought in a lot of F1 students. So around 136 international students came to New York City during the last 2 academic years, and we are the second largest city to host international students outside of California. Many students already know that New York City is ranked number one global financial centers. We are slightly ahead of London and Hong Kong, according to a March 25 report. In New York City, our economic, marketing and ecosystem is valued at over 621 billion. So there is a lot of activity, a lot of commerce here in New York, and the industries that we have here, of course, just like anywhere, but we are leading in diversity and opportunity for areas such as education, finance, fashion, and advertising. And so we want to be able to help students that want to reach those career goals make that possible. Next slide. So in our undergrad program, we have the 3 different schools. There is a school for human services, there's a school for business, and the school for public affairs and administration. Each of the degrees are listed below in the bachelor format. There's the human services degree, business, healthcare, IT management, emergency management, and not-for-profit management. Next slide. For our graduate programs, we also have the same 3 schools, human services, business, and public affairs. But now instead of at the undergraduate level, we're offering masters in education. This is one of the special degrees that we have. It's actually it's a dual degree purpose, right? So you learn how to handle grades 1 through 6 in student teaching, as well as special education, which is a huge market now, is asking for special education. And then we also have mathematics for grades 7 through 12. In the School for Business, we have one MBA. It's the Master's in Business Administration, but you get to choose one of 5 different concentrations. Treat it like a minor, right? You want to have your concentration in finance or general management, healthcare marketing, and non-for-profit. I graduated from MCNY 10 years ago with my MBA in general management. Also for the School for Business, you have project management, public affairs program similar to the MBA, where you have the MPA in administration with your choice of one of 3 different concentrations: healthcare management, not-for-profit, and public administration, as well as the MPA in emergency and disaster management. The one question that I usually get sometimes is, what's the difference between the healthcare and the non-for-profit MBA versus the healthcare and non-for-profit MPA? MBA is more for-profit companies, finance, and then the MPA would be more for like non-for-profit companies. And if you wanted to open up your own business, you would go with MBA. Next slide. So the undergraduate program tuition and fees, we have the duration of 2 years and 8 months. 32 months is listed on the screen, with the tuition capped at $20,000 for the year. That's assuming you're going, 2 out of 3 semesters, and you need 120 credits to graduate. We do offer a scholarship of $5,000 for those that meet the qualifications. And the qualifications we'll see on the next slide after the graduate program. So next slide, please. And graduate program tuitions, they're all listed here as well. So all of the graduate programs can be completed in 12 months. The Master's in Education is 16 months. However, I've seen a lot of students say to me that they want to be able to extend their stay in the U.S. longer. So you're not committed to the 32-month duration that's shown for the undergrad, or the 12 to 16-month duration for the grad. You are allowed to take a semester break. You are able to go reduce course load so that we can work with you in keeping your grades, high, and then maintaining your status while you're here. The tuition is listed as well, ranging anywhere from $15,000 to $19,000 for an annual cost. Again, you're able to go for 2 out of the 3 semesters, and as well, you have a $5,000 scholarship available if you meet the requirements. So next slide. So entry requirements are going to be, for undergrad, you have to have a minimum GPA of 2.0 on a 4.0 scale. If you're unsure, I think the agency is going to be able to work out your transcript evaluations and then send that back to me so that I know you meet the 2.0 minimum. For graduate programs, it's going to be a 2.5 minimum. There are no requirements for any dean's interviews or writing samples or essays. These are what you need to have submitted. Your 2.0 or 2.5 GPA, respectively. English proficiency, the scores are listed for TOEFL, IELTS, Pearson's, and Duolingo. And then only requirement for the graduate program is that you have to include your resume in addition to your transcripts. Next slide. So on the I-20, we want to be able to indicate that your tuition for the undergrad is there. It says 20,188. MBA is going to be the 18,358, and so on through all of the different graduate programs. The cost of living is indicated as a estimate. I mean, assuming that I was going to go to another country and I wanted to go to, the university of that country, I just cannot assume to pay only the tuition. I'm going to need to be able to cover my cost of living, which is going to be, room and board, place to live, food, groceries, clothes, travel, all those things. So you have cost of living, and then you also have additional personal expenses that you may need, whether it's going to be your computer, your Saturday night out right in the city, travel, all those things you're going to need to cover. So the grand total is going to be somewhere on the average of $40,000 or more that you need to be able to show on your I-20. Now, you don't need to, obviously spend all of this. Again, your tuition is going to be adjusted depending on how many semesters you take, how many classes you take. And again, we're hoping that a lot of students have family that live in New York that they would, choose to stay with them to reduce their cost. Next slide. So this is the admissions process workflow. Students are going to have to submit their application through the GUS Gateway. And as we go through each of the different funnels that are on the screen here, is going to allow for different communication to be sent out to the student as well as to the agency, so that way you guys are in complete communication as to where we are in getting approved, issued the I-20, having your visa appointment and getting the travel back to the US and then being fully enrolled at the school.
Thank you so
Next
much,
slide.
Andrew.
Oh, this is where
Um,
you're, yes.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
before we go to deeply more into the admissions part,
Mhm.
now that we've covered everything from programs to tuitions, a lot of the international students that we have and are watching right now might be thinking, what are the actual steps? So we're just gonna make it simple and clear, and I'm gonna ask Karan here to walk us through the admissions process step by step.
Sure, Killa. Thank you, Andrew, for sharing those details. So
Thank you.
now that we know the requirements, let us go in depth with the admission process. So the application process starts with the submission of the application and the required documents. And we receive all the documents via the GUS Gateway. This is our portal wherein we receive the application and the documents. Once the documents are received by the admissions team, the documents are then verified by our team. We check whether the documents are correct, whether they are in line with the requirements, and if there is something missing, if we need some further clarification, we do reach out to the students. And we also do the internal evaluation and the GPA calculation. Once the GPA calculation is done, once the student meets the required GPA, we move on to the next step, which is the application registration and also the COA issuance. COA is nothing but the confirmation of application. This is a letter, a document which we generate and we share it with the students. It contains all the details right from the very beginning of their journey till the end, and all the required information is present in the COA. Once we receive all the documents, a complete file of the student is then submitted to MCNY, and the application is then reviewed by MCNY, and a decision is made whether the student is accepted or rejected based on the requirements. Then we move on to the admit and the decision stage, wherein the admit letter is issued and is confirmed by MCNY and shared it with the student along with the scholarship. Once the admit and the scholarship is issued to the student, the next step is very crucial, wherein we involve the financial documents, wherein InUni reviews all the financial documents, all the supporting documents for the I-20 issuance. Once the internal check is done from our end, we again share it with MCNY for them to do a final review, a final check, and then for them to issue the I-20. The I-20 is then issued to the student directly by MCNY. Then the student pays the service fee, goes through the visa appointment, and once the visa is granted, the student can pay the initial tuition deposit, which is $5,000, and then they are duly welcomed at MCNY and they can enroll for the specific intake which they are enrolling for. So now that we have gone through the admissions application process, we will also see the admissions initial document requirement. Here we have categorized into both undergrad and grad because there is slight change in the requirement. So first, let's go through the undergraduation requirement. We need the passport copy, a valid, clear copy of the passport. We need the proof of English, which is your English tests, and we need the high school diploma. We also need the credit evaluation, which is done internally. For graduation, we again need the passport copy. We need the proof of English. We need your bachelor's transcripts, your final certificates. And additionally, we require a resume and a CV here, and then a credit evaluation. So InUni does conduct an internal evaluation. The GPA is calculated for both undergrad and for grad. For undergrad, the requirement is 2.0, and for grad, the requirement is 2.5. There is also a slight requirement for a specific course, which is the statement of purpose and letter of recommendation. This is in specific to uh, med ed in childhood and special education programs. So this is an additional requirement for this particular program.
Thank you so much for that, Karan. Now, before I pass the spotlight again to Andrew, I would just like to take the time to strongly encourage all of us who are joining today to ask your questions. Now, if you still aren't, able to see the Q&A box down below on your screen, you can go to the lower center part of your screen and select the three dots that says More. And then there you will be able to see and find the Q&A box. So I'm very sure Andrea and Karan are more than happy to answer all your questions live today. Please take this moment and the opportunity to, answer all the questions and curiosities that you have. All right, so moving on. Now that we've seen how straightforward the application process can be, the next question is what happens after you get admitted? So let's take a look at what your journey at Metropolitan College of New York will look like once you begin. I'll pass this back to Andrew.
Oh, thank you for that. So, yeah, your journey is going to start with, a buzz of activity, right? On any semester that you're going to start, we're going to want to first make sure that we have your flight arrival into the States. You have to arrive no more than 30 days before the first day of class, right, on your approved visa. You'll provide that information over to our PDSO. We'll be able to know, okay, the student's going to arrive on, let's say, May 7th or May 3rd. And then we'll be able to connect over the phone, meet in person at the college. You'll be able to meet with your advisor, go over your class schedule. And then somewhere around the first week after class has started, we're going to have a international orientation. All of the students come together for new student orientation, and we're going to be able to share and collaborate, like what country we're from, what the arrival process or the interview process was. We're going to share our stories. We're going to talk about our classes that we're in. You're going to be able to network with other students that are maybe from your country or maybe in the same class that you're in because, 7 out of 10 students may be taking project management together. So we want to be able to connect everybody. And that's going to be every semester. You're going to have a lot of support from our staff here at the college too. And I think there's a couple of slides that talk about that support. So just looking at this slide, first day of classes for the summer semester is going to be on Monday, May 11th. So we're still doing intake for that. The summer semester is optional out of the 2 out of the 3 semesters that students can take because again, You could just have to go 2 or 3 semesters out of the year, or you can choose to start in the summer and have your holiday break in the fall. September classes begin on September 14th if you decided to start in that semester. And then for the next semester, spring will start January 12th, 2027. So we do 3 intake cycles in the year. Next slide. So one of the questions that everybody asks is, am I able to begin working, right? Can I get work authorization? Can I begin, finding employment? Can I start making some money? Yes, you can, right? So with graduate students, and that's the only exception, graduate students can begin what we would call like day one CPT, right? We'll be able to help you, get your work authorization document. You'll get your social security card. You'll be able to get employment, pretty much within the first week. We'll be able to help you get all of that set up. We'll file whatever paperwork is going to be necessary with you. If you already have an agency that you choose to work with, you can let us know that. We'll work directly with them, and you'll be able to start working pretty much right away. I mean, we call it day one, but it's going to take about a week or so to get started. But in order to do that, you have to be a grad student. You have to be enrolled full time. You have to have at least 1 or 3 credit hours of coursework in that semester. Of course, you have to maintain your legal status. You cannot be in pending status, and you have to have the official offer letter. Now, when it comes to undergrad study, you would not be able to begin CPT until the end of your second semester, because you have to have some level of work experience, some level of course experience that's relevant to the work that you're going to do. So as an undergrad, you're just starting out, right? You're beginning to get your feet wet, but in grad study, you already completed all that foundational work. So you can only do CPT for no more than 20 hours per week, because understandably, you have to be a full-time student and you can work part-time. Now, the next slide is going to talk about OPT, right, which allows you to go for full-time study at 40 hours per week. And you can do this when you're not taking classes. So if you're on a holiday break, so let's say you did, 2 semesters out of the 3, you'll study 1 semester as an undergrad student, you'll go into your second semester, and then your third semester, instead of taking a holiday break, you can choose to just continue with your studies and just go straight through without interruption, or you can take the CPT or the OPT at that time. Same thing as if you're a grad student, you can just take the OPT during your holiday break, or when in either degree program, if you graduate, right, now you're able to do OPT for a whole year. STEM, you would be able to do this for 2 years. So this is, great opportunity for you to have not just your classroom experience, but also your relevant work experience. You're going to be able to build on your resume while you're here. You also have to get different approvals, and this page is basically summarizing the differences between the CPT and the OPT. All of the courses that you're doing are relevant to your major, right? So if you're going to be taking banking or finance or business or IT, right, all the courses you're taking are relevant to that. You're not going to have classes on like basket weaving or gym or tennis, right? We don't have any type of sports programs. We're very heavily focused on your career. We want to be able to get you from point A to point B, right, without interruption. We have no elective requirements, right? We don't have a minor. There's no reason for taking prerequisites, right? You could take the classes in any order as you like. I'm probably going off tangent right now, but it's relevant because the CPT is going to be important. Your OPT is going to be important because we want to make sure that you have a job. Your work experience is going to be tied back to your degree program. So if you have an MBA in finance or you're doing a bachelor in IT, I cannot give you CPT for a waiter or a bartender or a babysitter or a taxi driver, right? That's not going to help you with your career. I want to be able to give you something that's going to benefit your career, your degree program, you and your family's success. Next slide. So on campus, as I was trying to mention earlier, we do have career service advice here at the college. We have a 5 days a week career services person who is available to assist you, whether you need, it's your first time going on an interview, you need help with practicing that one-on-one dialogue. You don't know what to say. You don't know what questions might look like. Maybe you need help with writing your resume because you've never done that before. Maybe you want to get a career in business, but you're not too sure what that means, right? So because business is very generalized. So, we need to find out whether you mean marketing or advertising or public relations, right? We'll have to be able to figure out where your skills best lie so we can place you in that service. We also have mentorship programs. So you're coming in for the first time, you may be unsure as to, I'm a first time student, how do I navigate the system, right? How do I work with my colleagues and understanding the homework that's due and going through some of the challenges of meeting with the professor. I want to do better at leading my team. I'm given a responsibility to be in charge of a particular project. So I need to have my leadership skills. I need to improve my study skills. I'm getting stressed out. I need to learn about time management and handling stress. How do I prioritize my tasks? So you'll be able to get all of that in our first year mentor program. And it's completely free. All these services, there's no charge to you. You get them as a student. You just have to, go into the career services office or the library and be able to sign up for those services. There's additional counseling services that we offer at the school. You may be, dealing with some depression. You might have anxiety for some of the courses that you have. Maybe you're feeling, sad or homeless, not homeless, hopeless. Maybe you're just, upset at the fact that, I'm missing my family back home. Maybe there's something happened, right? You might have you just got some bad news, about your grade or about a family member or even just a friend back at home. You're feeling isolated because you're here by yourself. You might be the only student from Zimbabwe, here. Don't worry about that. We're going to find ways to help you. We have counseling support services, not just on campus, but there's also off-campus agencies that we work with that offer these services at no charge. So we're able to give you the support you need so that you can navigate being in a strange country for the first time, to be able to get through your studies. Next. So housing. So Metropolitan College, we are a commuter school. And so, you've seen the map. You have New York City with Manhattan centralized in the middle, and then all of the five boroughs surrounding it, Brooklyn, Staten Island, Bronx, and Queens. And so all of our students commute to the school. We don't have any student housing. We don't provide dormitory living. If we did, the cost of the tuition and housing would be astronomical. New York City, unfortunately, charges way too much money for student housing at these other colleges. Most of our students, over 90%, have family who live here. But one of the resources that I have is I have a PDF that I share with any international student that applies that's going to have a list of maybe 12 or 13 different housing options. These are safe, affordable places that I've vetted myself. I've gone to see them. I've seen many international students that are at these student housings, and they all are students that go from multiple colleges. So you may see, one student from another school, another student from another university, but all of them come to live in this housing because it's accommodating and it's safe for them. So that resource is shared with everybody who applies. Next slide.
Thank you
I'll
very much.
transfer back to you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. So we've covered a lot of, academics and the support systems that help the students thrive. Now, Andrew, I do have a question for you. So most of our international students are always curious about one thing, and it would be lovely if we could get a tip from you, because usually they ask like, what is it really like living in New York? And most importantly, how can they find a place that's safe, fun, or close to everything that they need?
Well, I mean, everything where you need is going to be within travel distance, right? I mean, I live here all my life. Well, no, not necessarily. I was an international myself. I came from Thailand as a child, and I immigrated to America and I became naturalized. But I'm here in America, and I people ask me, they say, "You live here and you've never gone to see the Statue of Liberty?" And I said, I said, no, I haven't because I know it's there, right? And I could go at any time. But I don't choose to like intentionally live next to the Statue of Liberty or the World Trade Center or Central Park because all these places that you can visit are within travel distance, right? So everything is usually between 45 minutes to an hour away. I live in Queens myself, so if I want to go to Central Park, it's a 45-minute train ride. If I want to go to Chinatown, luckily I have three of them. There's a Chinatown in Queens, takes 20 minutes. There's a Chinatown in Manhattan, again, half an hour, 45 minutes. And there's a Chinatown in Brooklyn. So I can go to any of these places. So the only tip that I would say is don't get so hung up on looking for a place to live that's close and convenient to anything that you want to sightsee to. It's probably going to be expensive finding any place in centrally located in Manhattan because all of the tourists that come from other countries they want to stay in Manhattan because it's just convenient. Most of the hotels are there, but there's also hotels in the outer boroughs as well. It's going to be cheaper for you to look outside of Manhattan. Travel is nothing. It costs $3 US to be able to commute anywhere. Taxi, Uber, bicycle rides, they're also available too. Um, but again, one thing that we want to try to help you with is support. So if you need assistance in looking for a place to live, we have that resource that I provided for the housing options. But also, you can also lean on any of the students that we have here at the school. Several semesters, I've seen international students arrive to the college. They stay in temporary housing at those hotels for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and they're sitting in a classroom with other students, and they'll say, "Oh, I'm staying at this hotel, and I'm looking for a place to be permanently." And two or three international students get together, they find an apartment, and then they just become bunkmates. They just room together in that place, and it just saves them a lot of affordability on the rent.
Yeah,
So we're able to assist with that.
that's actually a very nice tip, Andrew. I think a lot of our international students would appreciate, having that thought of them getting a roommate or somewhat another international student with them in the accommodation part. So, New York is huge. You have a lot of options for activities, for food, for restaurants, and places to go to. So I'm very sure you will have many and vast options to choose from, right? So yeah, thank you so much for that, Andrew, for the tip that you gave us.
I,
And
I think you
now,
just gave me a tip. I think you
yeah,
just gave me a tip. I think I'm going to create a PDF of like maybe the top five restaurants
mm,
or sites to see in each borough. And I'm going to try to make that as a PDF and I'll save it so that, again, anybody who asks, I can say, here you go. And I might even not even make my own choices. I'll probably ask other students to give me their choices. So
yeah, that would actually
good
really help.
recommendation.
That would really actually help. And hopefully in our, future webinars, we could tackle those places, that they can go to. Because of course, one of the things that as an international student look for would be what can I do in that city? What excites me to go to that city? What would
Right.
inspire me? So yeah, that will really help and very exciting for those upcoming webinars that we're gonna have, Andrew. Thank you so
Good.
much for that. And yeah, before we forget, so, lastly, for this one, we're very excited because MCNY is now live on Gus Gateway, and we're excited to invite all our partners, both new partners and those who are just joining us or existing partners who've been, supporting our students to please get involved because all you need to do is sign up. And if you are already there, if you already have an account, now is the perfect time to submit the students' applications for MCNY to help connect students, talented students with amazing programs and opportunity. I'm very sure MCNY has a lot to offer and you really love it there. So, okay, now that we've covered everything about MCNY, now it's your turn. Those who are watching, let's open the floor to you for your questions, whether it's about, programs, life in New York, or the admissions process. Andrew and Karan are here to answer everything you're curious about. So let's start. We do have a couple of questions here right now in our Q&A box, and let's dive in. The very first one is that how many backlogs can you accept? I'm not sure if Karan would be, the perfect person to answer this one, admissions wise.
So, Kala, regarding the backlogs, we are looking into it because we do have to calculate the GPA, and once the student has a lot of backlogs, the GPA does go down. So we are working on it. I have made a note on this point, and we will surely get back to the agent on this.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Another question that we have here, what is the employment rate for undergrad and postgraduates?
I've never really calculated that because a lot of our students choose not to do the CPT or the OPT because they want to be able to just go sightseeing. They want to be able to travel. They do have family here and they want to be able to take a break, technically, right? And just not commit to any kind of work at all. But those that have come to me, for employment, all of them have been able to get employment because we don't want to allow a lapse in their I-20, right? And the visa, because if they're not employed after 60 days from graduation, then they have to be able, leave the country, right? If you're not taking classes, then you have to transfer out again. So we don't want to have those kind of complications. So we definitely work with every student so that they could either continue with their education and transfer to another institution to get a second master's, or maybe they're going to do employment, but a number, I don't have a number, but everybody that I spoke to has gotten employment. So I would like to say 100%, but I know that a lot of students just choose not to uh, take employment.
Thank you for that, Andrew. Another question, and this is very interesting actually. Um, so about the tuition refund, I'm not sure if we got that before, but maybe for other schools or um, for the refund, if the student gets visa refusal, how long does it take to actually, get back the refund, or do they get the chance to reapply again?
I don't think that we're charging the 5,000 deposit until they've actually been approved the visa. That was from my understanding, unless something changed.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew. Anything else, Karan? Maybe you'd like to add to that.
That's right. So the students are supposed to pay the deposit only when the visa is approved. So that's right. So there won't be a case wherein the student is refused and they are paying a deposit. So the deposit stage comes only after the visa is approved.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Another question that we have here, is there any maximum scholarship amount for undergraduates and postgraduates?
No, there's no maximum scholarship award. We offer one institutional award, which I've already announced, but on our website, you'll see, and also there's a mailing that goes out with additional internal and external scholarships that are available. Again, you want to go for one internal scholarship, whichever one's going to give you the max. And so we would offer that anyway as an international student. We would give you the max because I think U.S. students get 3,000 and in uni gets 5. But there are several hundred external scholarships that any student can apply for. They just have to be able to meet the requirements for the semester, the essay submission, the length of words, and the due date when it has to be turned in. And that agency will write back and say, yes, you've been approved. They will indicate the college as the receiver, and then we will end up adding that scholarship to the student's account. So we did have one student that had three scholarships, one institutional and two external. It almost covered her entire tuition, which was great. I don't remember the situation, but almost. Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew. We do also have a couple of questions from our social media posts, so I'll start reading them right now. So, are there other ways to reduce the cost besides scholarship, like an on-campus job or assistantships?
Right. So we don't offer any on-campus employment for international students, but we do offer the CPT and the OPT. So you are able to get that employment, just not on campus. It would be off campus.
Okay, so they
Yeah.
are allowed to get uh, additional question. Are they also allowed to get, part-time jobs, maybe at school or outside school?
Not at school, but outside school, yes. You just have to be able to work with our PDSO and let us know where you're working. And as long as it's within your degree program, then yes, you're able to have your employment. Again,
All
like I said,
right.
we have to get you something that's going to be relevant to your degree. So I wouldn't be able to approve, waiter, bartender, babysitter, etc. It's not part of your degree program. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that actually makes sense. At least they get to experience and gather the skills that they need
Right.
to
I mean, if I was an international student and
Mhm.
I have an opportunity to do 3 or 4 months of CPT or OPT, I'd rather know that I'm working at a financial institution, right, or
Yeah.
managing some business versus, some low level position. So you want to always aim high, and we want to help you do that.
Yeah, and make your time be of good use. So thank
Yes.
you so much for that, Andrew. Also, another question would be, a student is not sure about the program choice that they have yet. So can they apply first and then decide later, or like how does that work?
Well, I wouldn't recommend anybody applying first because now you're submitting your application for a program that you may not be interested in, and then you are going to end up getting your I-20 and then doing your interview. And then what if you're at the interview and they ask you the question as to why you choose this program or why did you choose this school, and you don't have an answer? You can't just say, "Well, I'm thinking about it." You need to know what you want to do, right? If you're going to apply for a particular job, the same thing. So if you need degree advice, I would say you should be able to work with the agency. You should be able to email the college directly and say, listen, I have these concerns. This is the type of career that I want. So how do I know, like in that example earlier, how do I know if I want to go through the financial side of the MBA program or do I want to go for the non-for-profit MPA, right? We'll be able to answer those questions. And I do get a number of emails every day, from students asking me, which direction should I go? And the other
Mm,
thing is that in your first semester, if you registered as a student and you chose, let's say, MBA General Management for your first semester, within that first semester, you are able to change to a different degree program only in that first semester because you realize that some of the courses that you're taking after you're in it, you're like, you know what, I really want to do marketing or I want to go to finance. You're able to switch in that first semester before you start committing long term and investing.
yeah, I think that's part of the educational journey that we have. Even me before as a student, I didn't exactly know what I wanted, but when I got to the course that I took, that's when I realized, oop, this is not what I want. This is not what I
Right.
excel in. At least I have the opportunity to still go to other courses. Thank you for
Right.
that. And then last question from our social media. I'm not sure if Karan would also like to answer this one. How long does the usually admission decision usually take place, like the process itself?
So, kind of totally depends on how accurate and how well formed the documents are. Sometimes in the past, we've seen that the clarity of the documents are not well, and we go back and forth with the students. But if we do have a clear document, all the check boxes meet the requirement and everything, if they're meeting the GPA and all, so it should not take more than 7 working days, and the admit should be there.
Okay, 7 working days. Another follow-up question. So does that mean that the student get the admission letter first before paying the school fees?
That's right. They do get the
Ah,
admit letter, but this is like a conditional letter which the student gets before the main admit letter is given. So after they provide all the initial documents and all the GPA calculation and everything is done, that is where they receive the admit letter, and then they have to go through the I-20 process and everything. And once
Okay.
the visa is approved, that is when they pay the deposit.
Okay, got that. Thank you so much, Karan. Another question here. Could you please could you please advise us on how we can identify which programs offer CPT opportunities so our agents can be properly informed and, guide the students accordingly? So I'm guessing that this Miss Chriselle is actually an agent, a partner for us. So do we have programs that offer CPT?
All the programs are you can do CPT. Yeah.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you so much
All
for that.
undergrad, all grad. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. And then lastly, last question before we wrap this up. Is there any deposit to confirm the seat? I'm not sure if this is, a reservation fee or do we have other fees to confirm the student is in?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay, that's good to know. I think all of the costs earlier were also already mentioned. So, Shrishti, if we can go back to the recording in once this has been uploaded, you can see all the costs there. I think there are no other costs added that needs to be paid by the students. So, yeah, thank you so much for all those questions. Yeah, so since that's the last one, we're about to wrap up. So thank you so much for the participation and for all your engagement. And yes, the recording will be sent to everyone shortly right after this session. So a huge thank you to Andrew and Karan for answering those questions, for all your insights. We really learned a lot about MCNY and the process and admissions. But before we, come to an end, I would like to just ask if you have any, additional advice or tips to our incoming students or those students who want to apply for MCNY. Maybe we could start with you, Andrew.
I mean, my only tip I would say is to be able to help improve your visa approval is just to definitely, get there early, have all the documents, ready, and know the reason why you are applying for our college and the program that you selected. You don't want to get stuck, when the interviewer asks you maybe one question and then you're sitting there thinking like, oh, let me think about why I chose the college. Again, you should know why, because they'll immediately say, okay, thank you, come again, like, and just dismiss you. So you don't want to have to pay the visa fee, right, for the interview and then ruin your chance because you weren't prepared. So just make sure you're definitely prepared, arrive early, have all the documentation, and then know why you are choosing the college as well as your degree program.
Thank you so much for that, Andrew. How about you, Karan? Any parting words?
So, from the admissions point of view, the quality of the documents, like I mentioned, we would like the students to make sure that, and the agents to make sure that the quality of the documents are um, um, good, readable, a proper good PDF format so that it becomes easy for us to review and process the application as early as possible, and there are no hiccups in between, and we don't have to go back and forth. So yeah, quality of the documents is what we are looking for from the admissions point of view.
Thank you so much for that, Karan. And that concludes our session for today. A big thank you for our speakers for your insights and our team from InUni who have been helping us throughout this webinar, and of course our audience for your participation. Again, we'll be sharing a recording of this session this after this has ended. So you can revisit any information you might have missed. So if you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and we'll be happy to assist you. Again, we hope you found today's session very informative, and we do encourage you to consider MCNY as a valuable option for your academic journey. So we look forward to seeing you in our next session. We hope you have a great day. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.
Take care.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.